Hello, my name is Chris Snipes, and you are listening to The Melt. What if our perceptions were wrong about the nature of the coronavirus phenomenon? What if our perceptions are wrong about a lot of things fundamental to how we view this world and this life? What if the dystopic inevitability that we've grown so used to thinking was bound to happen was a sham? I believe that if more people were aware of how easy it is to fudge numbers, to influence perceptions, to convince a massive group of humans that consensus reality was something wholly unrecognizable from the actuality, that they would be more apt to question what they are told by those who most certainly do not have their best interests in mind. Especially when throughout the timeline of history the same patterns occur time and time again. What we are all experiencing right now, to varying degrees, is a good example of all of these dynamics. Now it is important, more important than it's been in a good long while, to remain open and fluid. Now is the prime time to be your most adaptable. Now is the time to go with your gut and your heart. We are in interesting times. Let's rise to the occasion with grace and equanimity. Today's guest, Ole Dammegard, has spoken in front of crowds around the world, encouraging us to wake up and try our best to transcend the limitations that we are conditioned to adhere to. He agreed to have an impromptu conversation on short notice about a timely topic that we all feel steeped in right now. I begin the conversation by asking Ole if the coronavirus situation is a classic case of problem, reaction, solution.
I tell you, I get intel from all over the place, many different countries, and it's like it's pointing either to something very dark, end game, let's just commit suicide, that type of situation, or something extremely positive with a total reset of the banking system, a total shutdown of everything so that we can restart without the viruses, also in human form, in the form of psychopaths and all of these key people in this system, that the reset, that there will be a shutdown of the internet for about 10 days. That is what I've been informed about. And during this time, there will be a reset of the reason for this is to break the back of the beast with all these illegal transfers, digital transfers. And so after that, after these 10 days, when they reset the whole thing, the whole banking system will be built on gold instead of just normal pieces of paper, worthless. So it's that way or not. So it's like, but I'm really confused. Normally, I have a pretty good understanding of what's going on, even with black ops and so on. At this point, I am totally confused. Everyone I speak to are confused, even in military and police. Everybody says something big is going on, but they don't understand it. And I tell you, I've even seen the new dollar bills, the design for the new dollar bills a few months ago. So where they are also connected with gold, the gold standard. So somebody has been working very hard to produce these. I mean, you don't do that in Photoshop overnight, I can tell you that.
Sure.
And so what is going on? If you ask my brain, I get a bit scared sometimes. If you ask my heart, not a problem at all. It's just a minor bump in the road. And on the other side, it's going to be amazing, I believe, because I really hope that we're at a point where we will transcend duality. That is my great hope. And that on the other side, there would be, it might look the same, but there would be a total change of energy where we will start seeing each other as one and seeing what can I do to help us instead of I, me, mine, you know.
Yeah, if anything, this has been a really intense exercise in interconnectedness, how interdependent we are.
Yeah, because it's like, who could ever imagine that the world would just come to a full stop? I mean, a total standstill. I mean, never ever happened anything near it, similar. Or so, how did they do it? I mean, you have to give it to them, whoever they are. But my impression is that it's multi-layered. It's smoke and mirrors. There's nothing simple about these type of operations, and a lot of, you know, like in the normal agent world or spy world, there's like double agents and triple agents, and I mean, it's like black ops and COVID operations, and you know, all of them going on at the same time. And here it feels to me like there's some players on a very high level that are playing more than one side, you know, to a massive psyop. And I hope this is for the better. And because there's a lot of information coming as well about mass arrests that I'm still waiting to see if that's true or not. But I've had this from normally reliable sources, you know, where there's underground bases where these people are being gathered. Many of them are being given a chance to withdraw with sort of their pride intact by saying that they've been infected by the coronavirus, and then they're being pulled off the stage to be tried or whatever. I don't know what's going to happen to them, but there is a hell of a lot of people in key positions that have suddenly contracted corona. Mm-hmm. And you know, like so many of these key people, boom, 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 boom. And then when you look at the whole virus thing, it looks like it's an absolute psyop. It's very, very confusing, because it's almost, I believe, that we're at a crossroad where two worlds meet: a world of fiction and a world of facts. And the world of fiction is governed by and ruled by psychopaths and all kinds of people of a lower frequency, you know, where it's the greed, the ego, it's totally ego-based and ego-fed world. And then you have the world of the rest of us that are trying to find out what is going on and are trying to live by facts and are trying to live by the heart instead of greed, where all the values have a value instead of where it's just being used. And so it's like, I don't know. I'm super excited, and at times I get a little scared, you know, because it's I know I've been doing this for many, many years. I've been efficient. I've been really trying to be as good as possible. So I know I'm a boil in the butt for these forces. And so now, as far as I know, the military is above the police here in Spain. And also, I believe they've been given the rights to just knock on the door if they suspect anyone of being, you know, I heard a sneeze, let's put it in the SWAT team. So we live in a situation where if it knocks on the door, I would not be too comfortable. Let's put it like that. And I've got like a rope hanging out on the side of the building. I've been checking out alternative escape routes out of this little city. So that's one part of it. That's on sort of a ground, the street level. We bunker up food, but we had that for a long, long time. We had like for a couple of months worth of food and, you know, some extra diesel. And so that part, but, and the virus itself is very interesting as well, because I don't know, the last interview we did I talk about this whole thing about these 39 coordinated attacks that we managed to stop?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we have that, where it seems like this whole thing was delayed. But at the same time, I'm getting a feeling more and more that maybe I really messed something good up, because these dollar bills were supposed to be released on Thanksgiving. What day is that? It's on 22nd, isn't it?
It's around the 25th in November. Here.
In November.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was in October.
Okay.
So anyway, so the bills were supposed to be released on the 25th or around there in November, but this whole thing went down in October. So maybe it's like when you look from a distance, maybe there's this racing going on, this race. I believe that is what we see, that the dark and the light are really struggling and fighting like almost like two dragons, you know, and where possibly by that the whole thing was postponed, because I really think that stopping these 39 coordinated attacks messed it up big time. And then the attack that we are seeing now in the form of this coronavirus is so much weaker than had it been coordinated with these other attacks, including a nuclear power plant meltdown in Sweden. I mean, can you imagine the whole, and also an attack in the harbor of Rotterdam, where that would have created famine in Europe within a few weeks. So that combined with the virus, that would have been disastrous. And that would also knock out the whole new reset of the funds with the new dollar bill built on gold. So maybe that was planned there to knock that plan out, you know. And then the whole thing was just upside down. Now I get new reports that the first 10 days of April will be the shutdown of the internet. And at Easter, that is when they will reset the whole thing, but this time with the whole new system. Listen, I am confused. I am sitting here totally speculating.
Yeah,
I hope that's okay.
Absolutely.
But because we live in unprecedented times, this has never ever happened before.
Yes, indeed.
And it's wonderful also to see how people are uniting, you know, and becoming creative and becoming really funny. I mean, there's so many really funny ways that people are dealing with this thing. I don't know if you've seen some of the videos. I mean, it's hilarious. And also really creative people are sitting, playing and singing to each other from balconies. And also they start caring about each other, you know, and instead of being anonymous. And also the stress, where are you going to go? The stress, calm down. There's no way to go.
Exactly.
And so it's beautiful to watch as well. And people are more and more becoming aware of here and now. What's happening tomorrow? We have no idea. Was it worth all that stress and all of this, this rhythm of life where you just like, and you never get anywhere? You're just in the rat wheel. Is it worth it? And now I find it really interesting as well, because all the shops are closed. You can't buy anything. You can't drive anything. You can't use money. So money is becoming of less importance, because what are you going to do with them?
So you don't even have grocery stores open there?
Yeah. Okay. So you can buy another bagel. That's it.
Sure.
But I mean, does that make you happy? I tell you another one. Is this okay if it's going to be a different type of interview? We just go in all different directions.
Absolutely.
I saw an interview the other day with an expert on happiness, and she was asked about how come that you know, like if you dream, you have this goal. Oh, I'm going to get a new car. It's specifically, or most especially when it's material things, a new diamond ring, whatever it is, a house, whatever. And then you get it and you're like, whoa, yeah, you get the new car. And after a week, it's almost like normal. And you just get in the car, you hardly notice it, you drive off and you just like, what happened? I was going to be happy and now I'm like this. And what she said was, it's because nature is energy saving. And I thought that was really interesting, because she said that it takes a lot of energy to be that excited. So if you were that excited every time you got into the car, yay, another 400 days in the same car, yay. Like that would take a lot of energy. So it's nature that just say, okay, enough with the excitement, now calm down. And then it goes down to an energy saving level. And I believe why I think it's important is because I believe it's the same with fear. When you get really fearful, that takes a lot of energy. So the body says, or the whole body temple system says, whoa, this is too much. It's like draining us of energy here. We need to start saving some energy here. So it makes you adjust to the situation. So one day you're terrified. Let's say you go to a war zone, you're absolutely shaking and shivering of fear. The next day, after 2-3 weeks, when there's a bomb dropping or a landmine going off, you hardly react because you've accepted, adjusted, and accommodated. Just the 3 A's in yoga. So, and why is that? That is also energy saving because it takes so much energy to be terrified. So here the dark forces are having a major problem, I think, because how are they going to keep us fearful? Because they can only control us if we're fearful. So they need to cramp it up every time and again, over and over and over and over and over. Can't they? I mean, we get more and more desensitized with video games and fluoride in the water and all of these things. And at the same time, they need us to be constantly freaked out.
Yeah.
But it won't work. Even with the Zika virus, what they came up with, that it would eat the brains of babies. I mean, can you come up with something worse? I don't think so. What will top that?
Exploding heads.
Exploding heads. Oh, okay. And what will top that?
Yes.
Oh, you're running out of options here.
Yeah, exactly.
In the old days, do you remember in the 70s when Soldier Blue came and it was the first time when you actually saw what happened to a person when they were shot, with not just a blob of ketchup on the shirt, but actually, and people were puking, people were fainting in the cinemas. It was like a whole, now, I mean, put a 3-year-old in front of the Chainsaw Massacre, he won't even react hardly. We've been so desensitized. So how are they going to keep it up? They can't. So they're losing the grip over us. So it's wonderful in one way, even though I don't really like that we are that desensitized either. So it's so I don't envy them. I really don't, because where are they going to go now? I mean, how will they be able to keep us in this grip? They've done ISIS over and over and over again. I mean, how many beheadings in front of green screens can you do? How many, And okay, then we put 200. We will behead 200. So okay, so the next time, what about that? 300? Would that do the trick? I don't think so. Maybe babies. They're down to women and children. That's the ultimate. They can't go further because it's the old problem, reaction, solution. All the false flag, go for women and children. But when you've done that, where are you going to go?
Yeah. Old people. I mean, they've done, I don't know if they're talking about that where
we don't care enough about old people.
Sure.
No, I'm sorry. And guys like you and me, sorry, it doesn't work either. No, babies, kittens, oh my God. If you do something cruel against a little cat or something like that, that still works. But I mean, you can just see the trends on YouTube, like a cute little kitten, 4.6 million hits because it says meow in a cute way. And then you have something that is of real importance, like 12 views. And so we live in strange worlds and times.
People want distractions. And the thing with a situation like this is it's so something like a virus is so intangible. So we're supposed to be relying on all the information that we're getting from the experts. And while we're hunkered down in our homes, self-quarantining, a lot of people just plant themselves in front of the TV and just soak that stuff in, you know?
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a
that.
fear spiker right there.
But this is I don't fear the virus at all. At all. I would have no problem flying to China now. I'm sure the tickets are pretty cheap. Um, without a face mask, not a problem whatsoever. What I do fear is how it's being used. And also the whole thing, what I find is incredible is that viruses are not living things. It's not like a bacteria that you can kill. A virus is something totally different. And I'm not an expert in this area, but the whole thing with these created viruses is that you can't, as far as I know, vaccines cannot deal with them. It is not, you cannot. And some experts even say that viruses are not dangerous at all. This have to stand for them. Please look up for yourself these areas, because like I say, I am not an expert and I don't know for sure. But one thing about this coronavirus, for sure, it is a created thing. The patent is owned by doctors at the Woking Institute, at the Purbright Institute in Woking, sorry. Purbright, by the way, Lord Purbright is one of the Rothschilds that was very much into eugenics, connected to Bill Gates. And it's also the Purbright Institute that was given a donation, I think, of $9 million not long ago by Bill and Melinda Gates. So, and they own the patent of this virus. So if you own the patent of something, it's because you have created it. You come up with a new, unique something to be able to get a patent. They will check, does this exist before? And you have to be the one that put it together, whatever it is, to get a patent. So we're talking bioweapons here, not anything else. And so in it, apparently there's something called adrenochrome, as part of this genetic string. And that thing only activates on fear, which I think is also really interesting, meaning that if you're not fearful, the disease will not hook onto you in the same way as if you are fearful. Then the adrenochrome will activate and boom, hook onto you. So it's almost like humanity is being divided by people who says, yeah, right, and then people freaking out. And the people freaking out will attack a lot of the people who are calm and really try to scare us as well. And hopefully that's not so easy, I hope.
Well, and if you see, this reality as just a sort of a web of energy, then it really becomes important as to, I don't know if you're familiar with the metaphor, there's a white wolf, which is good and kind. There's a black wolf, which is sabotaging and destructive. And it just depends on
which one do you feed?
which wolf do you feed. So I think this is an excellent situation for that. Like, do we feed into the fearful, dystopic, apocalyptic scenario that this is going to just end life as we know it? Or do we look at it as a possibility of, I don't know, getting past something or transcending old patterns or modes of behavior? It could go either way, it seems.
And maybe it is like that in this matrix. It's up to us. No judgment. Where do you want to go? Straight to hell or right up into the heavens? I just know that when you're fearful, you make bad decisions.
Yes.
When you freak out, you do not make good. Your mind is not in a problem-solving mode. It's not in a mode where you can say, okay, fine, this will be the best for my family. This will be the best. You freak out. And so whatever the situation is it real or is it not? Is the military there or not? Is the whatever? You are a lot better off if you're calm. And if you can, the more you can let go of fear and enjoy life. Also, if you're in a very, very tense situation, if suddenly boom, boom, bang, 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 which could be the reality here in 5 minutes, bang, 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 I really hope that I would be able to meet them, maybe laughing, or do as calm as possible, welcome them in, and please put your guns over there. Would you like a tea or whatever? Or if you're going to drag me off, at least I hope that I will be able to keep the balance. That is my hope. I have no idea. I mean, I managed a few times. Other times I freaked out because it's shit scary. I mean, this is not for wusses. And if something bad should happen to me, then I hope, my intention is that I will not be hateful or blaming towards this individual that hopefully believes in what they're doing, where I am the enemy, so I can't blame them. But and out of a totally selfish point of view as well, on a karmic level, that I will not put anger or blame or whatever. I would not bend over. That I can tell you. I'm not talking about like, yeah, do whatever you want with me. I am, but I'm not gonna fight physically either. I am. I don't know. Can I tell you a few times where I managed to do, where I feel this was the way to do it.
Please.
There's been two times where I've been approached by people in uniform, black uniforms, where they've been very upset with me. Not because I've done anything, but because they were in a van, I believe, before with heavy metal music on, and that they were being told the target looks like that, crush it.
Yeah.
You know? And then in this case, the crosshair was on this individual. So anyway, what happened was that the more or less they were quite similar, these situations, where this individual approached me so angry, so pumped of adrenaline. And in these situations, what I feel also in war zones, I've seen the same, where it's not evil, but it's lack of light. There's nothing there. The eyes are just black. It's like there's no one there. They're so, and so their language is power. They will crush me. They will dominate me. They will push me down. That is their language. They're used to it. People bend over. They destroy them. Whatever. So physically, I have no chance whatever. That was very clear. I mean, these guys were armed as well and with big sticks. But what I did was I did not get into any dialogue or whatever. But what I focused on was to keep my mind occupied so I would not go into fear mode. Because the beauty of this thing we have between our ears is that it can only do one thing at a time. So what I did was I looked in the eyes of this individual, arms totally down. Very important that you're not sort of like in a combat stance, or because as soon as you move your body into like defense mode, you're in their game.
Yeah.
That's their arena. So I stood with my arms down, totally relaxed, and just focused, looked at them, and just the word that helps me is divine, and just repeat. So the brain cannot get a chance to get into fear mode. So what I did was I just kept repeating, divine. He's somebody's son. He's somebody's brother. He does not know what he's doing. He believed, divine, without judging. And what I was looking for was the spark of light in these dark, very brutal eyes. And what happens, I find it's one of the most beautiful things. I'm in love with these situations in one way, because what happens is, as far as I can see, is that I'm the one that should be fearful because I'm about to get my head bashed in. But when I'm not fearful, it's like it reflects back at that person. And there's this hesitant, like, why does he not bend over? Why is he not afraid? Why does he not see who I am? Does he not, that it's like in a fraction of a second, there's all of these. So there's this glimpse almost of fear in their eyes. I mean, they could eat me for breakfast like this. I'm a joke, right? It's like a joke. But here it's on a different plane. And so it's like, there's like this fear thing coming in their eyes, and their confusion, absolute confusion, because it's like, and then it's in these point where I'm looking for the spark in these black eyes, and boom, both times I've seen it, it's like a tiny little explosion, like boom, in their eyes. And I know at that time, at that point, their life of domination is destroyed. I really believe that their power system cracked, because from that point on, there would be a doubt in their way of being. It had worked up until then, and now, thank God, and I'm so grateful to be able to totally destroy it for them. And what happened after these, in both at both these occasions, not a word was said, because I know, had I started arguing with them, or I would have been dead, dead meat right away. So it's really important just to stay in that focus, and without the not even accepting them as a threat, just, and like 5-10 minutes down the line, I've been sitting talking to these people, both of them, and they open up, like talking about their relationship and their son who didn't understand. My girlfriend doesn't understand that I really like to have bulletproof underwear or whatever, like, no, but these type of things. And 2 times I have got their private business cards, saying, here, if you ever need help, or if there's anything I can do for you, here, my private number. And I'm just like, hallelujah, baby. This is magic. This is magic.
You went off script. You if you would just have done what I'm sure every other person that they encounter in situations like that does, which is just submit or act out of fear and not wanting to be hurt in that particular moment in time, then they probably wouldn't have reflected at all on any of that. But you got out of that little matrix somehow, and you shot him that look, and you changed the whole dynamic. That's amazing. That's like magic, practical magic.
I've heard of these incidences. They're called the Jesus factor as well. Like in the Second World War, when like somebody was about to be executed. I know there was at one time there was a priest that stepped forward and said, listen, take me, don't shoot him, take me. And the soldier then aimed the gun at his head, and it clicked. And he was like, what the hell? He aims at the ground, and then he aims back, click. Something happens. It's the same, Dancer with Wolves?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In the beginning, where he's about to lose his leg, Kevin Costner, and he knows that it's over and done with, he's done. And so what he does is he rides in front of all of these enemy soldiers, and they start shooting at him, and he just surrenders. He just gives up and throws back his arm and surrenders. And at that, the native Indians talked about it as good medicine, that you were invincible. You could not, when you're in that state of mind, you cannot be hurt somehow. I don't know how it works. There was one time I was being invited to a workshop, and I'll tell you this first. I thought at that time that I had sorted myself out. I had done a lot of, because I've been really messed up by life. So I've had a lot to learn from, which has been great. Boot camp, I call it. So I was invited for free to this workshop, and I thought, I'm going to go there and I'm going to help these people with their problems, because I have solved mine. This was many times years ago. Anyway, so there was this girl there, a young woman who I thought I really liked her. And after a while, I felt she's avoiding me. I was like, why? Can she not see my greatness, that I have solved all of my problems? Anyway, so I more or less pushed her up in the corner. I said, listen, are you avoiding me? And she said, yeah. I said, why? She said, but because you're one of them. I said, one of who? The people with masks on. I was like, wow. What? And that was a major, like, in my face because I was not aware of these masks. I know now what she was talking about. I had this smiley mask on that could beat me, whatever. I would still smile, but I would not show what was actually going on. So that was it. But that was not what I was going to tell you about. What I was going to tell you about was at the end of this workshop where I really went deep, and I'd gone through a lot of hard, tricky stuff. And so it was at an island called Gotland, which is east of Sweden, and it's a very, very unusual island with very strange rock formations, and the rocks are sharp, like really razor sharp. They're not from I don't know if it's volcanic, but it's very, very sharp. And the where we were at this, where this workshop was taking place, the house was up like this, and then there was like a what could you call it? Like a steep hill going down towards the sea. I mean, it was not free fall, but it was pretty goddamn steep. I mean, very hard to walk up, like this. You didn't have to climb, you could walk it, but you really had to use your hands and so on. But anyway, I stood up there and I just felt there was this beautiful sunset. I was all alone, and I just felt I'm gonna roll down this step naked. I was like,
Wow.
what? I mean, now when I think, I have no idea. I have no idea where that thought even came from. And I thought, well, I might as well do it then. So, and it was really interesting because when I looked down, maybe there was like 40, 50 meters down, and there were 3 little rabbits on the beach. And for the rabbits or bunnies or whatever you want to call them, in some native Indian their philosophy or whatever, the rabbit stands for fear. So, and there was also this tiny little dark cloud on the whole sky was clear, but there was a tiny little black one. And I thought, okay, for me to get rid of the fear and clear the sky, apparently I had to roll down this hill. Maybe I should get therapy instead, but that was what I chose to do. Anyway, so I took off my clothes, and without knowing it, the guy who was heading this workshop was seeing what I was doing. And I didn't know that. He told me afterwards. But he thought, well, it's a workshop, people take off their clothes and see the sunset like this. And then suddenly he saw me disappear over the hill, and he was like, oh my God, what the hell? Anyways, I lay down, and then I just rolled over the edge. But I was in that space. I tell you, I was in that space, the Kevin Costner space. After this 5-day workshop, I was in that zone. And so I can't really remember anything of it, except that I was rolling down maybe like 30 meters or something like that. And then I got stuck on a branch that was sticking out. So it stuck me in the stomach. So I sort of was hanging on it. Yeah, but it's interesting because that is exactly where Jesus had the spear. The rest of me, there was not a scratch. There was nothing. I tell you, I did not have a bruise. I did not have a cut. And the rocks were sharp. Like, how did that? I don't know. And why did I do it? I don't know either. But I did it. And there is something going on when you get yourself into that zone. You cannot be hurt. That is what. But you have to totally let go. If you try to manipulate that zone, you are screwed. I tell you that it will go very badly.
Sure.
So it's I've dipped in and out of that, and it's been a very giving experience to take part of things like that, to just get a feeling of that there's something much, much bigger than us going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel, I go back and forth. I've been going back and forth too in this context, in the of the coronavirus situation. And I get to a place where I feel very grounded and I feel fine and I feel like everything's going to be all right and something positive will come from this. And then I will just happen to, maybe I get a notification on my phone that I have text or something, who knows. I get on my phone, I happen to look on some fucking social media news feed or something. There's some headline there and it completely takes me out of that state of
Mm,
mind.
mm,
How easily that is changeable
mm.
by manipulations of just this information that people want us to hear in a particular way. So it's like, yeah, when I'm by myself and I'm grounded and I feel confident in that presence, I feel
Mm.
fine. It's only when I start, like browsing through the aisles of all these crazy headlines and all this scary information and all this fear is when, I just have to have my defenses up or I get taken out of that place.
So where, but if you look at where does this information come from, it's all the
Exactly.
time from screens,
Yes.
and it's digital, and
Yes.
it's not. It's like, do we know it's true?
Yeah.
It's like
That's,
something is coming up on a screen. Oh my God, it's so
yeah,
awful. Is it?
exactly. Yeah, I
Or
know.
is it
Well,
not?
that's my initial reaction. Of course, then I think
Mm.
past that and I can talk myself down from that. But that's the knee jerk sort of, oh my God,
Yeah.
yeah. And some people don't go past
No,
that. Yeah,
it's and what is real and what is not. I have
exactly.
no idea. I have no idea.
Like you were talking about, the situation being used as sort of a financial reset and how positive that could be and all that. And then you hear another side that's saying, oh, this is being used as a opportunity to make all money digital and to have possibly mandatory vaccinations for this. And oh, well, while we're vaccinating everybody, we'll just throw in an ID 2020 chip in there. So
I tell you, it's got all the hallmarks of the worst New World Order
yeah,
agenda, full spectrum attack on all different levels, coordinated at the same time. Horrible, horrible. I mean, all the things that I've feared and I've been trying to stop for all of these years in one nice little package
yeah,
globally. So it's like, I don't even understand how we came to this point. It was like everything was pretty good, and suddenly, boom! Overnight, we were in this situation, and there was this very strange feeling to me, just like when you're in a computer game, and you come to one part, and suddenly, boom! You're taken to the next level, and there's a new ball game. The whole
yeah.
scenario, everything is different. The
Mhm.
controls are the same, but it's and I've spoken to quite a few people where when this happened, they were so close to make major changes in their lives. Something was just about to go through. You had finished. I mean, in our lives, it's ridiculous. We were so close. We've been working so many years. They were so close to come on three or four, major things in our life, and overnight, boom, it's gone. It's not even in on the radar. It's off the horizon
Yeah.
because we're on this in this ball game called the Corona. I was like, what? Like, how? And then suddenly, all of that is not important anymore.
Yeah.
And it was really funny as well, I tell you, because we lived up in the mountains for some years, and we had it's beautiful, beautiful place up there, and but there was not a lot of people, so we had a lack of people, a lack of friends, a lack of everything when it came to well, socializing with people. So we were we were blessed with a dishwasher that started making problems. So my sweetheart contacted the landlord and said, please, there's some people coming here that are going to take care of our house for a month or so. Could you please sort out this dishwasher? That ended up with an argument about the dishwasher, not from our point of view, but from the house owners, which make them also say, well, we're not going to repair this. And by the way, you need to be out in 9 months. Thank God we were given 9 months. So that took our life on a whole new direction, because we had been living up there for 6 years or something like that. So that started a whole new life. And once we started that, suddenly the dishwasher started working again. Interesting,
Uh-huh.
interesting in my
Uh-huh.
world. I think these things are interesting, because then it's like, thank you, got it. So, so instead of being upset with the landlords, it's just thank you for being absolute not nice people at this point, because it makes it so much easier for us to move on. And so we came down here. Now we're on the coast. It's the first time we live in a small city. And so we were thinking, this is the first time ever. It's going to be amazing. Like, we're going to be able to just walk down to cafes and maybe meet people, maybe get some new friends. We came here. It was a real big hassle moving in here, because the people that had this apartment had to move to another one, and they didn't want to leave that. Anyway, took a long time. Finally, we managed to get in here. We got all our stuff in, all the old stuff out. And the first night we were here, we took a walk. Kim and I, my sweetheart, we took a walk, and we came about 50 meters down the avenue here, or it's a beachfront. And we met a person who said, "Oh my God, how are you?" And we said, "Oh, look, we have friends. How wonderful is this? We can meet people and have a beer or whatever."
Mhm.
So we sat down, we had a Corona each. We took 2 Coronas. We went back home and we went into lockdown. so
Wow.
so
Crazy.
the whole reason why we moved down here was to be among people. And then we had like a sniff of it, and then we went straight into lockdown. I thought this is kind of funny.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And it's interesting because, I mean, we're all supposed to be on lockdown, and usually any other day when there isn't a coronavirus lockdown, there's nobody walking around my neighborhood. There's no kids playing outside. Everybody's all, locked in their own little mental cubicles doing whatever they do.
mm,
But now that there's a lockdown, tons of people are out walking their dogs and kids
whoa,
are out again. It's such an interesting juxtaposition, like people, I think, once forced to separate from one another, they have this innate desire to go,
mm,
well, wait a second. I
mm.
I don't want to do that. I want to go out and connect with people. So if anything, maybe it will be some sort of a reset as far as that stuff is concerned, recalibrating the way that we interact with each other and
Yeah.
yeah, realizing how interconnected we are and how important it is to be present in that.
And also giving nature a chance to breathe.
Yeah.
Mother Earth, just we've been raping her on all levels of life for such a long time. Now suddenly she gets like she can start breathing again, and especially in the beginning there was something crisp in the air. I don't know. And also I've been feeling like energy wise, normally I say I'm not sensitive to energies, but I think more and more that I am. But when at night it's like I feel it's like here, and the dreams are just like oh my God. And sometimes I feel like I'm being upgraded, like okay, you just lie there and
Yeah.
download. I don't know what's going on.
It's
And
absolutely. So do you think, I mean, you mentioned your Intel earlier in the conversation, and about these celebrities who are coming out and just anybody really of prominence that's coming out saying that they have coronavirus. I've heard, hearsay and rumor of the fact of these mass arrests that you're talking about and how this situation may be used to even take down pedophile networks.
yeah,
What have you heard about any of that?
that's exactly it. But I mean,
Uh-huh.
these pedophile networks are in the same realm. It's the same people
Sure.
who are involved in these very dark matters, and involved in companies like Monsanto, or in government positions, or in the military industrial complex, or the medical industrial complex, or the key people. And the Bilderbergers and the Freemasons are also the ones that are doing these horrific stuff. I mean, you have to be some very, I don't know, to do things like that to children. mean, what kind of individual are you? And the rest of the time when they don't do that, they're up to other things that are very not nice. And in the business world and in so many different areas of life where they look like the rest of us, but they are not. And we have to look ourselves in the mirrors as well and see why did we let these people just step up? Because I was too weak or too fearful or too much of a coward not to say anything when I saw this alpha individual just woof, you know.
Yeah.
And why are we not reacting? You see all this corruption is all over the news, and and nobody's doing anything. So we have to say, well, I was part of being quiet, so eat it.
Yeah. Well, that's what
It's
was.
like,
Go ahead.
no. So the way I see it is like, without them, these so-called bad individuals, we wouldn't learn. You and I wouldn't ever have met,
Sure.
and so many incredible things are happening because of them. And just like in a gym, if you have a gym without weights, I mean, what would you do there? So you
You got to
need
have
the weights.
resistance.
Yeah, you need the resistance. And then we're complaining, because actually we should say, thank you so much for being absolute assholes, which will help me evolve.
Yeah.
Because if without you, I wouldn't. So I've written a book called Remind Me, Read Dash Mind Me, which is it's almost like a game manual where it's like what we're living, this matrix we're living, there are some rules. And this book is the rule book. But when we come to this earth, we have to live it without the rules. We have to find out the rules ourselves. That's the whole game. And also, every night when we go to sleep, we're given this injection of amnesia so that we wake up next morning. It's like, I totally forgot what I learned yesterday. So we can keep this game going on for 70, 80, 90 years. Otherwise, it would be game over in 3, So I don't know what I was going to say, but it's what I wanted to say in that book also, I call them the black angels, because here are individuals that take on themselves a lot of bad karma, and I would say on a higher level, for our sake, so we should in one way almost be grateful for them taking on these roles as such horrific individuals that can put us through such mayhem so that we can evolve as spiritual beings. It's like, to purify gold, you have to go through fire. It is only through intense fire that you can purify gold.
Mm-hmm.
And in yoga, it's called tapas. To burn is not the Spanish tapas.
Yeah.
Tapas is to purify yourself without attacking. Take it, swallow it, deal with it. Do not attack back. Let it burn inside you and purify it. Because it's so easy to want to hit back, when in situations something arrives and you just want to, you're talking to me, are you talking to me? Boof, bang. And then you get nowhere.
Yeah.
Often you get 2 steps backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And also, yeah, I mean, the horrible adage that many grandpa has barked at us, but no pain, no gain. So in an essence, we can't evolve unless we're taken outside of our comfort zones. And we're all outside of our comfort zones right now, which I think is one of the upsides of this, is that, I mean, we all have various forms of lockdown and rules that we're having to live under, but we're, in the same sense, we're dealing with vaguely the same scenario. So I find that fascinating, and it will be interesting to see how it develops as the weeks go on.
Totally fascinating.
Yeah.
And I also so sympathize with people innocently sentenced to jail or prison sentence for years, and yet maybe many of them are innocent, or being taken some kind of plea deal or whatever. I think it's 98% of all people in American prisons have made some kind of deal. So so they're doing time many times for things they haven't done.
Sure.
It's just like if they're being threatened, like if you don't take this deal, you're gonna face 98 years for parking your car in the wrong spot or whatever.
Yeah.
So they take it. Okay, I'll take 13 years. But when you look at the whole way this uh, industrial prison system is set up, it's the same individuals as again who have destroyed society, who have backed up hip hop music, especially gangster rap, and to push in also with the crack epidemic, same individuals that are pumping the whole thing in to make minorities kill themselves and
Hmm.
also occupy more and more prison space owned
Sure.
by the same individuals that are pumping drugs in, cutting down the resources to the police, pumping up this whole system where crime and violence is being pumped up and glorified through hip hop. There was especially one meeting in outside Los Angeles in the early '90s. I think are you aware of that, with the gang with the where the whole gangster rap?
I think I know what you're. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard people talk around it, but not in any sort of depth.
Well, it was not a coincidence that gangster rap appeared, because I mean it's crap music, and from being a real cultural thing with I mean a lot of really good lyrics, and very politically aware, and I mean all of it was like, and then it came to Ho and Kill and all of these just horrible what happened there. And it went more or less overnight with very very high level videos, glorifying violence and murder and porn. I mean, these, when you look at what's the difference between these videos and porn movies, almost like when you see these gangster rap videos, but not by coincidence. It was 91, I believe, this meeting where more or less all the music producers in LA were invited to this meeting. It was in a private house, and I don't know the names of the people who invited them, but they were like business people. And all of these producers were invited there. They had to sign a confidentiality agreement, non-disclosure. And what they were more or less presented with was not an option. It was just like, this is the way it's going to be from now on. From now on, we are going to do like this. And that was to get the whole gangster rap going, with the intention of destroying minorities and get them to fill up prisons. And I mean, in the American prisons now, it's like the world has never ever seen the number of prisoners like in the US. I mean, it's like
Oh yeah.
300 or 3,000 times more than other countries, because it's an industry.
Yeah.
It's it's like a hotel business where you build the hotel and then you just say, well, I want you to sit here 40 years, full pay every single day. Who's going to pay? Taxpayers. Okay, take another one. You over there, I saw you urinated when you were 5 years old on a bicycle. Put him in for 18 years old. That is a lot of days for money coming in, and every single time it's the taxpayers, the taxpayers, the taxpayers. The same with the military industrial complex. I mean, all of these bombings in Vietnam and other countries for no reason. You speak to the soldiers, you speak to the officers that was down on the ground. They were like, why did you drop all the bombs over there? Why didn't you? We could have stopped the war here. We could have done. No, that's not the idea. The idea is to drop as much crap as possible, destroy as much military equipment as possible. Every single helicopter, Bell helicopter that was shot down, was paid by taxpayers to the manufacturers. I mean, the more destroyed helicopters, the better for them.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And the more bombs, the more landmines, the more bullets fired, the more, and then use the bodies to transport drugs home. I mean, it is a beautiful scenario, I would say. Horrible, horrible, horrible. And who are paying the price? Normal people and minorities, all the time minorities, because the people who are ordering these wars, who are backing them, never sends their own children.
Of course. Absolutely. our president being one of them.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, as far as where you're coming from with your gut and your intuition, you aren't leaning in any particular direction as to where you foresee all of this going. Or you're just kind of collecting information right now, right?
I don't even do that hardly. I
Hmm.
just stay focused.
Sure.
I I've started my own gym. I have 4 staircases in the, there's 4 floors.
Uh-huh.
So I run up 10 times,
Uh-huh.
5 times in each direction
Great.
on a daily basis.
Uh-huh.
I focus on my family. I got my sweetheart and my daughter here. I focus on staying in balance. I focus on here and now. And also what we're doing daily sofa talks. My sweetheart
Yeah.
Kim came up with the idea.
Uh-huh.
Let's do in quarantine.
Yeah.
We will just do like 15 minutes per day. So that's what we've done.
They're great.
And it's spread all over the place. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, we get from all over. I thought like maybe 17 views in total or something. No. It's just, and people are really appreciating it. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just sitting there.
Yeah. I love it.
You've seen it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how it happened. So, and the guy whose apartment it is, he's so happy because his sofa is becoming famous here. So, no, so that's one way of dealing with it.
Yeah.
Also, because like today, Kim was sad. It was her mother's birthday, 70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
She couldn't be with her in Sweden, and so it's like some days good, some days bad.
Sure.
But the thing is, I am so optimistic. People say, "Come on, you cannot be. You have said that this is going to be all right for so many years. Look at the state now." Yeah, so it's still going to be all right. My daughter says, when I said in 2013, this is the year when all's going to change. Then it didn't happen. So 2014, I said, this is the year it's all going to change for the better. Well, that didn't happen. So 2015, now this is the year. And then I'll tell you, this is the year. And my daughter's like, yeah, right, Dad, right. Have you ever been right when it comes to that? No, but I have been quite optimistic, I would say. And optimism and hope, I think, is extremely important. You lose hope, you go down.
Yeah.
So what can I do? I can spread hope because,
sure.
And it's not fake, because I'm so optimistic. I tell you, I don't know where it comes from. I just know that we're going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same way.
And it's going to be amazing on the other side. That as well. I tell you, it is going to be so beautiful. I've experienced it a few times with ayahuasca and other stuff where suddenly 3D goes into like, I don't know, 1D, where suddenly it's like, whoa, there's no difference between, and it's a beautiful and a bit scary experience also.
Discombobulating.
Do you know, before my mother died, she said, still confused, but on a high level. And I think that is a good way of putting it.
I think it's important, especially when everything seems to be so heightened, to remain more fluidic and open than ever. Because I think once we start clinging to things or clinging to a particular storyline, then, I mean, there's been many, many experiments where it's been shown how much of an effect our state of mind has on our surrounding supposedly objective reality. So if that's the case, then it's more important than ever to remain exactly what you're talking about, to remain optimistic and to maybe be more concerned with what we can control in this situation that seems so out of our hands and so chaotic, is to just focus and be grounded and be mindful and present with the things that you can control in your life. Yeah.
Maybe, maybe suddenly the lights are going to come on, and they're going to say, oh, it was all an experiment. You did really well. What? Well, I don't know. Truman World. I have no idea what we are living in. I don't know. Is this a matrix? Is it real? Is it virtual reality? Is it like an experiment with chemtrails just to see how much can they take before they suffer? You know, how stupid can they be not to see it? Or I don't know. I mean, everything is so upside down when it comes to logic. At this point, I would say it's totally upside down. You know, child care services, absolutely not. They kidnap children. You know, the police, they're like the ones that I fear. The military are the ones that I fear. They should be the ones that should protect us. Governments, super crooks, banks. Oh my God, let's not even go there. And then you have like Hell's Angels, love them, you know, and mafia individuals with great honor. You know, it's like so confusing. Like where I mean, I have friends, former assassins. I've got friends that have been in black ops for many, many years. And now they're doing everything they can to redeem themselves. And these are trustworthy individuals. These are individuals that have proven themselves, that have also found out that, oh my God, what have I done with my life? I want to change. Then you have politicians. Oh, let's not even go there. Have I any respect at all? I don't think so. I mean, what I would say, government buildings, tear down all the doors. There should be no doors that could be closed, no meetings behind closed doors. Absolutely not. Total transparency. All the books should be for anyone to see at any time. They work for us. You work for me. I pay you. So you should behave. I'm not talking about you, but anyone.
Yes.
And any politician that gets any kind of financial support should have it just like on a Formula One driver, where you can see Dunlop and Esso or whatever on them. So you
Yes.
see, okay, this guy has been funded by Monsanto. I don't think I'm going to vote for you if I don't like Monsanto. You know, this type of, instead of this slimy, greasy, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And then with a nice front, oof, do not like that at all.
Yeah,
I've
me
never
either.
voted in my whole life. And a friend of mine was asked if he was voting, and he said, no, I do not support organized crime. And I thought that was brilliant. I loved that answer. I do not support organized crime. That is so spot on.
It is. It's great.
So, because it's like the whole political system that I'm so not interested in, because I'm not very interested in theater, is like it's built up like this. Boom, you've got the left, the right, and then you got like three in the middle everywhere. The center party, or the whatever they get, the libertarians, or whatever, I don't know
The
what they
Green
want to call
Party.
them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have like Republicans and Democrats, but that's right and left more or less. The whole thing is, it's all connected to me. So which finger do you want?
Yeah.
Pick this one, pick this one. I'm still the one that controls it.
Exactly.
And so it's such a waste of time to even I mean, politicians on a lower level, I'm sure that they're nice people and that they mean well. But what happened on the way up there? And I've spoken to people that knows what they are talking about a lot more than I, when it comes to the hierarchies of society. And this is not only, I think that is in most countries. And especially one guy, he was the chief of the National Customs Services in Sweden. I mean, a high-ranking official, and he was part of a small group that I was involved in that was trying to find out what happened to the Swedish Prime Minister Olof Palme that was allegedly gunned down in 1986 in the streets of Stockholm. And I said, how come that no one is reacting? You know, it's so obvious that the investigation is not doing anything. It's just like there to cover the whole thing up, which is why it's there. And he said, when you come to a certain level, everyone up there are corrupt. If you will not enter that sphere, if you're not corrupt, they will not let you enter into their gaming room. So anyone above there, you just know they're corrupt. And that, when he said that, I thought that somehow makes sense, because you see these individuals, and once they're on that side, they're not very good, many of them, of what they're doing, even though they're given top positions and top pay and stuff. And then they totally screw up. And what happens? Their career goes up, or they get an even better job, even though they totally messed up and swindled away millions of dollars. The thing is, where did these millions of dollars go? And how come their career goes up? It's because they're loyal to them, not to us.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and then the differences between the promises that they are making when they're trying to get elected and what they actually do once they're there, black and white. Yeah.
It's so easy. They will tell you, and I could be a perfect politician. I could tell you anything you want to hear before the election, and then I will do everything I want after the election. Once I'm on the inside of the doors, I will give you a double finger, and then I will be loyal to my lords and rulers behind the scenes. So, and then this whole hype about, oh, have you voted? Have you not? Absolutely not. I have so not voted. I do not even listen to them. If I've listened 5 minutes to Trump in total, and I don't know about Trump. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? I have no idea. It's, for me, he's like a joker.
Yeah.
You know, and a diversion. I don't know.
But I've heard, as far as these sweeps of pedophile networks, I've heard that, from more than a few sources, that he's one of the key players who put all of that into. Yeah, is that what you heard too?
I know. Yeah.
So
do you know who Dick Gregory was?
Yeah.
I mean, he's the guy that I had quite a lot of respect for as a researcher and a stand-up. I mean, he was a civil rights activist. He did not back down.
Yeah.
He, before he died, he claimed that there was 2 Donald Trumps, one with a red tie, one with a blue tie, not the same person. And he said that, I can't remember, I think it was the one in the blue tie was doing good stuff, the one in the red tie was doing all this awful stuff. I have no idea, but Dick normally did not say things like lightly. You know, he was normally very well researched, and to say a thing like that. But when you come to that level, when you look at Hillary, there's at least 4 different Hillarys. I don't know if you've seen it. When you compare the photos, they don't even look alike. They're not the same height. They're not the same weight. They're not the same. And we're like, oh, it's Hillary. I don't think so. One of them is, and one of them overheated. What does that mean? Have you, I mean, a person can get a fever. Have you overheated lately? What is that? Are we talking about some kind of robots or what? Because when Hillary got this strange, they said that the doctor said she overheated. That is my expression. What? She overheated. That was this public statement. She overheated. So I'm like, I mean, I know that the technology that we are aware of and that they have is it's a lot more advanced on their side of the fence than we think. So maybe they already have these cloned individuals. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. Or if it's virtual reality, or if it's just like 3D graphic effects, but something very strange is going on. So also now with these, the video effects where you can, in live broadcasting, you can change. Have you seen when they put on sort of like facial markers or whatever? So in live feed, you can have one person with these things, then you put it on the live feed, the same dots, and then you can direct. I can sit and do like this, and then George Bush does it so that it looks like he's the one doing it, but I'm the one. It's my face that is.
Wow. And
they can do it live. That is very scary. You can check out TED Talks and stuff where he shows like 5 different Obamas saying the same thing, and he says, which one is the real one? And people are pointing, and then he says, none of them. None of them
Wow.
is the real one,
Holy
because
shit.
this is how we did it. And so just because you see Trump up there saying stuff, is it him?
Yeah.
Or is there this fight going on? Maybe it's the guy in the red tie
Mhm.
who's, the red team. The Republicans and the Democrats, don't they have blue and red?
Mhm.
Okay, so maybe, I don't know which one, what the difference really is, but maybe the blue is for the blue and the red is for the red, and the blue is the good guy and the red is the bad guy. And there's this whole thing going on in their arena that we have no idea about. And today, I saw this video where, I don't know who this guy is, but he said that all mortgages, all debt is now forgiven globally.
What?
Yeah. And where he speaks very precisely. I can send you the link
Yeah,
afterwards.
please do.
He looks like a president almost. He's standing like speaking like this, very official looking. I've never seen the guy before, but he's talking about that now, right now, there is exactly what we're talking about, a reset of the finances going on. And where these two realities, the fictitious one and fact one, is now clashing. And there's the whole reset going on here now, where also there's a whole change of where the military and the police are in a process of starting to work for us instead of against us. I mean, if what he's saying is true, hallelujah, baby. It's
Yeah.
fantastic, what I've been dreaming of for such a long time. And it appears he has like 8 or 10 videos in quite a short time span, but I think it's like more than a million views on one of them. So it's not just a tinfoil hat that has come out of control, So
Interesting.
yeah, and he speaks very precisely. He speaks that the corona is actually what it actually means. It's not a virus. It's a code word for gold-based finances. And he says that many of these viruses, we're talking mind viruses, they're not real viruses. And he says, so for instance, the code words that are being used in these psychopath circles, in these business circles, and so on. And what he says is that the avian flu, for instance, that is a code word for the debt and being released from the aviation industry. And he's talking about many of these codes, saying this is what they're saying. We don't understand it. So we are disabled by the system. It's set up so that they can communicate right in front of us without us understanding what's going on. And I find it really interesting.
That's compelling.
And either he's totally crazy or it's spot on. And he said it's happening right now. The whole thing is happening right now in all of these different countries, the exact same thing. And I tell you, oh my God, I so hope that this is it,
Yeah,
because that would be fantastic.
that would be amazing. And
Because
I've go ahead, please.
no, he's talking about the banking system, the federal banks who are now trying to pull out and pull away from the Federal Reserve Bank,
Mm-hmm.
because that is at least one of the heads of the snake, one of the heads of the beast. I think it's not only one head. It's almost like this. There's this woman with all her
Oh,
hair,
Medusa.
Medusa. So it's almost like there's more than one head of the snake. It's like more, but the banking system, my God, is central in holding us in this slavery.
And I've heard talk about all of these corrupt systems being pulled down too. Like somebody or quite a few people have mentioned that that's why there's such a big concentration of this in Italy, is because what's in Italy? The Vatican.
Mm.
Yeah, and a lot of, organized crime originates from there as far as the mafia is concerned. But have you heard anything in regards to that, like any of this affecting the Catholic Church or the
I
workings of the
mean,
Vatican?
when you look at how they've set the system up, the dark ones, it's like you have the financial center in the old city of London. You got the war center in Washington, D.C., and you got the spiritual center in the Vatican. And then you have, it's like a triangular, and then you have like anything from weapons to drugs to oil to minerals to uranium to organs to pedophile trafficking. All of it is like,
Yeah.
so the Vatican is central. It's an hub of evil. Let's call it like that. It's right in. I mean, it's like the mother growth of cancer.
Oh yeah.
One of them. So I just yesterday I received official numbers from Italy about how many dead people from the coronavirus. And I mean, the country was the first one in lockdown. And the official numbers where people have not been like 93 years old and dying anyway, or very weak of other diseases, and so is down to 2.
Wow.
2. Then I have from Finland, Sweden, Hawaii, Japan, New York, and one hospital in England where people have gone to the hospitals that in media they've said, oh my God, we're totally overloaded, we're running out of staff, we have no idea. It's like people are dying everywhere. And they've gone there with their own cameras and there's nothing there. There are tents outside, they're big, there's no one there. There's no dead people, there's no sick people, there's no nothing. There's nothing there. But there's a lot of ambulances parked, so dramatically outside. No one there. And I'm doing a show every Monday with Jason Goodman in New York. He's been walking around to the different hospitals in New York, just filming, asking people there, what's going on? And they're like, there's nothing. And then you see the media, it's like, oh, now they've had to build this emergency. Like in Madrid here in Spain, they use the ice arena, with the hockey arena as a morgue because they're running out of spaces in hospitals. And there we've seen like pictures of a big cooler truck that reversed there because there's so many bodies or not.
Yeah.
I tell you, I don't believe that at all. I don't believe there's a single one.
It's so easy to fudge those numbers, and
Oh
it's
my God.
totally, yeah. I mean, it's all information. That's all it is.
But now you're saying wonderful stuff here because I found yesterday you have all of these numbers coming from, where do they come from? They come from the Johns Hopkins Hospital, which was one of the people or one of the organizations that was part of the Event 201 simulation in New York. You're aware of that?
Yeah.
We spoke about, yeah. Mm-hmm. So how can you have a simulation identical to what we're seeing now without it being somehow connected?
Yeah.
Because people say, no. But that's like if the police did a raid in the home of Al Capone and he found, like exact drawings of the Buckingham Palace jewelry, crown jewel, things like that. And then a month later, a heist was carried out following the exact plans that Al Capone had practiced. And you say, no, I don't think it has anything. Of course, it's connected. In my world, it's 1 in a trillion that it should not. It's just like a month or so in between. So the numbers are given from the Johns Hopkins Hospital. These are the maps that you see on the news all the time, and it's in the simulation as well. And it ended up with 65 million dead in the simulation, but it's the same maps more or less. Boom. Then you have from the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia, absolutely super criminal institution in my world, where they are the ones that have also owned the viruses, the patents of Zika virus and the Ebola virus and swine flu as well, not the corona. The numbers are coming from there, Johns Hopkins and the World Health Organization, which is founded by the same structure as the United Nations. And so we're back to the same Rockefeller, Rothschild, the whole shebang. So can you trust them? I do not think so. And then you see, but who are pumping it out? Well, every single country that this has happened to are part of Agenda 2030. They've signed these papers, so they have devoted themselves to this agenda, which is absolute madness. I mean, when you start looking into Agenda 21 and Agenda 2030, it's like it's absolute. Why would anyone in their full mind and healthy brain sign a thing like that? It's 1984, you know. So how are they coordinating it? You have NATO, which is also a creation of the same forces. You have NATO, you have the different spy alliances like Five Eyes, Nine Eyes, 14 Eyes, in coordination with Gladio, with United Nations, with Agenda 2030. You put all of these things together, and then it's not that difficult to carry things like that if you control media. If you can control the main sources of these things, like Reuters and Associated Press, both of them Rothschild. Then you have the American press, CNN. All press or media in the States are owned by 6 companies or fewer. I don't know if they, but 96% are owned by 6 companies or less. And these 6 companies are also working together. So it's not, that's surprising that CNN and Fox and ABC and whatever are saying exactly the same things. And then the rest of the world are listening to CNN like it was a god.
Yes.
I remember when I was working as a journalist, in those days in Sweden, there was something called TT, which was the newspaper's telegram bureau. I mean, nobody questioned what came from them. It was just like, oh, it's from TT, so it's true.
Yep.
And then you see, I had a friend of mine who was one of the founders of Al Jazeera's, the news, which was amazing. I mean, in the beginning, absolutely amazing. And he was like 45 years as a journalist, heavyweight. He was I think he was in Hong Kong when Snowden came. Not that I trust Snowden at all, but he was on that level. He'd worked for BBC for many years and so on. And what he said was one day when he was working at Al Jazeera, and they were so efficient, they were so good at what they were doing. And then one day he said he saw that some people came, like the men in black, and spoke to the owners. And after that, there was a 90-degree takeoff in a totally different direction. He said everything changed after that meeting, and he does not know who these people were that came and gave a visit here, so. Yeah. But after that, he left it. He said he got totally disillusioned. He lost the faith. When I saw him, he was on pills and drinking too much, not feeling good. He felt, everything he had worked for was down the drain. There were no real journalists left. I used to be proud of being a journalist. When I see the people that are called journalists, do I respect them? I don't think so. I don't know anyone almost that I really respect, except people like us that are doing. I think this is what a journalist should do. I should be, kicking back and recording in my studio and having a cold beer. This is not something for me to do. It should be high-level, skilled people in news organizations like BBC and CNN, if they were doing what they were supposed to do. But they're not.
Yeah, I agree.
I had people, Luke Rudkowski, and Jeff Berwick. They were outside. What's his name? Dan Dix is from Canada as well. They were down at the Bilderberg meeting in Switzerland, I believe it was, and they were sitting there with the real journalists, and these real journalists said they were so impressed by what these guys were doing. I mean, without any funding, without any high level anything, and they were like, oh, we wish we could have done it. We wish we could do it as well. Well, you can if you're not corrupt, and if if you don't sell out, you would do it, but they don't.
Yeah.
And so they seem to be very aware of what they should be doing, but what they're not doing.
Yes. And it's so, if all of these reports were coming in that the sky was pink, and we were, this was going to totally change how we're going to live because the sky is pink, and we could all go out and look up in the sky and confirm that yes, it has indeed turned pink, then it would be something tangible. But all of this is such an abstract shadow play of numbers and statistics, and hearing drastically different reports, and
Yeah.
many of them very extreme. It's so easy to feel tossed back and forth, and to, there's so many headlines right now that are just fear porn. It's people
Yeah.
glom onto them and justify it as a reason to just leave reason behind and freak the fuck out. And that doesn't serve anybody.
That's not true. It does serve somebody.
Oh, you're okay. You're right. Yes, of
Because
course.
you always have to ask yourself, who benefits from me believing this?
Yes.
There
Yeah.
is why. If there was a reason why this was being pumped at me, why would that be? And who
Yes.
benefits? It's
Yeah.
always cui bono.
Yeah.
Somebody, if there's an agenda behind it, it's not just a coincidence. They are pushing it for a certain reason, and that is to make you fearful. It's always the same. When you feel fearful, why do you feel fearful? Where does the information come? Who benefits? Problem, reaction, solution. Who benefits? Follow the money, follow the benefits or whatever. So, but here we are in a situation where it's so confusing, because it's like, it's not just anywhere close to each other. It's like this.
Yeah.
It's like this, or this, or this, or this. It's very unusual,
Yeah.
and interesting as well.
Absolutely. Well,
So it's almost like, choose. What do you want to choose?
yeah, that's what I meant by in the beginning, by the fork in the road. Like, we could take it anywhere that we want to take it. And just to bring it to a close here, what would you suggest in all of this chaos and madness and confusing the data and all that? What do you think is the most tangible and helpful and beneficial group of things that we can focus on?
Have you heard the Wizard of? No.
No.
Do you know, like, there was this man. He was so frustrated of his life, and he said, "Oh my God, I just need to find the solution." And people kept saying, "You have to go and see the Wizard of." And so he went there. It was a very hard and long road, the mountains and climbing and stuff like that. And he finally made it to the Wizard of. And so he came and he said, "Dear Lord, I'm here with all of my problems. I'm really seeking. I'm so grateful for you to show me the way. Please give me the answer to all my problems." And the Wizard of Oz said, "Oh." And he said, "But please just tell me, what should I do?" And the Wizard of Oz said, "Oh." And so I say the same. It's a very wonderful feeling when you just let it go. Let it go. Just. So the Wizard of Oz, I think it's a very beautiful way of saying, what is the solution? It's like the immune system doesn't care what the attacker is. Whatever will attack it, it will just deal with it. And here we don't even know what is attacking us. So, but we're so trying to say, well, if the attack comes from there, then I will do like this. Oh, it's over there, and then I will do like. We don't know. We have no idea. Maybe it's even a trick of light. Maybe it's just a fart in the air. We have no idea. So what can we do? And so I will continue to until
like it.
until I find somewhere to. It's the same if you're on a surfing board. Not that I'm a good surfer, I've never tried it, but if you're stiff, you will fall down. If you're relaxed and you bend your legs and you stand in balance and you're not fearful, you can deal with it in a lot better way than if you are fearful. Fear is all the time where they want us. It's a very low frequency, and stay in a higher frequency and we will be okay.
I love it.
And while we're at it, stay in the highest. Love is the answer of all. Listen to the super hacker, Mr. Jesus. That's what he said, I think, is if a highest frequency dissolves or annuls a lower, you can see it in laboratories, then why not go for the highest of them all at all times? Whatever the problem is, meet it with love. Not easy. No one has said this is easy. And it's not wuss love either. Like, you can step all over me, I will take it out. That's not it. But the power of love without judgment, oh my God, that can make a difference. So love and in combination, and then enjoy it. I mean, okay, so if you want to be depressed, enjoy the depression, feel it. Oh my God, it's so awful. But okay, this is not where I want to be, but now I know what it's like. So enjoy it. Stop complaining, stop whining, that I would say, because according to many native Indian tribes, this is the time of the times, and it's only the strongest of the strong of spirits that have come down here to be part of this incredible experience we're in. It's unique. And we've been fighting on a soul level to get down here. Me, I want to go. And now we come down and then we complain. I mean, really? Come on. What the hell? This is not why we're here. We're here to excel. We're here to make ourselves proud. And so how do we do it? Find ways. What works for you? Be creative. Follow what gives you goosebumps. Now you have a timeout even. There are no excuses anymore. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Why are you here? Who do you love? What do you love? What are you compassionate about? How can you make a difference? Do you just want to sit and hibernate? Or is that your task here on earth? Then do it. Enjoy it. Be a veggie. I mean, for sure, these are needed as well. I don't want to be one of them. But or what do you want to do? Do you want to? Is this a comfortable way when your head is spinning all the time? Do you feel good in that? Or would it be an idea maybe to see, is there any way of calming this thing down because it's not very comfortable? And then work on that. Some people use music, hug a cat, take a walk if you can. Not all of us can. You start to appreciate these things, appreciate what you have in your life, because most of us have something to be grateful for, if not everyone. I tell you that if you got 2 legs, oh my God. If you got 1 leg, then be very happy for the 1 leg you have. What do you focus on? Do you focus on the missing leg or the one you have? Do you focus on what you don't have or what you have? And gratitude, I believe, is the key, because the more grateful you are, not just in words, but if you can feel it, just feel the gratitude of what you have, whatever it is. I mean, I'm sitting in a warm place. Oh, but the police could come. Do you know how the mind can do stuff with that?
Oh, yeah.
I look out the window. It's beautiful. I mean, my God, look at it. It's stunning. I'm sitting here. Everything is working. I've got a new microphone thanks to very generous people who've sent donations to me. It's amazing. Or it's horrible if I let this one take me there. I could be very worried at this time. I could be freaking out. I could be hiding under the bed, or I can enjoy it. The choice is mine. The choice is yours. What do you want to do? Do you know the Bhagavad Gita?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, how does it end? It's this whole story about Arjuna, who is the perfect warrior who didn't want to fight a war. My yoga name is Arjuna.
Uh-huh.
And anyway, he's talking to Krishna, who's God, saying, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight, I don't want to fight. And then Krishna is giving him all kinds of advice and stuff like that. You can do this or this or whatever. And then it's like a book like this. I never come to the end of it. But apparently the last paragraph is, it's up to you.
I love it.
And so it's like, oh, come on. I wanted a good ending, just like tell me, is it this way or that way? Mm-hmm. It's up to you.
Yeah.
And the end of the Matrix movie, the first one, now the rest is up to you. Something similar to that. It's up to each and every one of them. Why are we here? Why are you here?
I'm figuring that out on a day-by-day basis, but being present wherever I am is I've found to be the most recurring theme, to be present.
Yeah.
Yes, and whatever I'm dealing with at whatever time.
If you can do that, that is amazing. I mean, that is to when you eat, to really eat and taste and chew and all of that, instead of thinking about
exactly.
Or when you slam the door to the car, not slam it but close it. How you deal with how you walk, if you walk like this or if you walk like this, or how you talk to your loved ones, or how do you treat nature? Do you throw garbage next to it, or do you pick stuff up even though you didn't throw it there? Even if people don't see you, would you still pick up garbage, and put it away, even though there's nothing in it for you? I mean, there's all of these things. What I love is I love to help people on a totally selfish thing, because I think it's really fun, because it's beautiful. So I'm sort of looking for opportunities just to help, or to give people a ride, like when they're hitchhiking, or if they don't even knew that they were hitchhiking, but it was just like walking up a steep hill or whatever. There's so many different opportunities, and it's so amazing when you do stuff just without any hooks, just give without wanting anything in return. The result is most of the time beautiful. And I think selfless service, love it, because then magic happens in life, and it's fun when there's magic in life. Then suddenly it becomes interesting, and the more grateful I am, at least the way I see it, the more magic comes into my life. I don't know how it works, but it's like, I think it's almost like, if you got a really spoiled brat, a child, and you give them something and just throw it and stomps on it, will you give that child another gift? Maybe once or twice, but after a while, I don't think so. But if they're really grateful and they appreciate it, then it's fun. And I think however this works, it's almost like we're being observed, and well, here's someone who apparently appreciates that one, so give him another. And why not give him another? And give him another. And then suddenly this magic of how things come together, that is for me, like how the chances of some things happening sometimes, what are the chances? And then once you start seeing that this is ridiculous, this could not be a coincidence. If it was maybe once in a lifetime, but when it occurs on a repeated scale, there's something else going on. And then at least I start seeing that, whoa, I have no idea how this works, but there's something bigger here, and I'm just a part of it, a very important part in my part of experiencing this. But at the same time, there's something a lot bigger going on here than I'm aware of. And this is also a good thing that gives me hope when it comes to these bigger things, because, oh, Corona, oh, Ebola, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. What is it all about?
Nobody can take the ahs away.
No, no, they
Those,
cannot. And I tell you, I think even if you're in a really tricky situation, like say that you were in a court and being sentenced to life in prison for something you hadn't done or whatever, would be good in that situation as well. The more you could practice, and they cannot get to these things if they don't break you.
Yeah.
Then it's like your soul. They can break your body, but they can't break your soul.
Exactly. Your human suit.
Can I finish with a prayer?
Absolutely. Please do.
I am not religious, but I have this beautiful prayer from my Raja Yoga teacher called Melanie Chelleram. Incredible individual. And the prayer goes like this. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May everyone, and especially the ones who hurt us, be filled with peace and joy, love and light. May the light of truth overcome all darkness. So victory to that light. Yeehaw,
Amen.
baby.
Amen, brother.
And I want to finish with another one, and then I will be quiet. A friend of mine was in Greece many years ago. She was actually the one who brought David Icke to Sweden the very first time. But anyway, she was in Greece. And one night she was taking a cab home, and the cab driver was so happy. So she asked him what happened. And he said, my grandmother just died. And she was like, what? Yeah, my grandmother just died. And he said he was so close with her, and they had been talking about death for years, and prepared, because they didn't know, am I going to die first or is she going to die? But they had studied a lot and read a lot together. And then she was like 99.5 years old or something. I mean, it was getting close. So he was staying with her in the hospital. And then he had pulled his bed next to hers, because they both knew that she was on her way. And so he had crawled up next to her and whispered in her ear, are you ready now, Grandma? And she said, Honolulu, baby. And then she died.
That's fantastic.
What a way to go. Honolulu,
Yes.
baby.
That's great. That's fantastic. That should be on her gravestone if they had a gravestone for that person. But Ole, thank you so much for agreeing to do this on short notice, and for your wise words that I think are very, very helpful in these kind of confusing times. It's much appreciated. And I think many will benefit from it. So
thank you so much.
yes. And maybe we can get together a little bit down the line after some of the dust is settled and see and meet again and sort of compare notes and see where we're at there.
Maybe there was no dust.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Take care of yourself, Ole.
You too.
And tell your wife Kim hello. And I've been enjoying the posts on YouTube, and I will put some links so that people can get to those. And don't forget to send me the link of what you were talking about in the interview.
That I will, if I remember what
the person
did I say?
Who has been putting on videos saying
yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Cool.
I'll send it to you right away.
I'll pass it along.
Okay.
All right. Take care, Ole.
Take care.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Another fantastic conversation with Ole. I want to thank Ole so much for agreeing to do this on such short notice. I mean, literally within a week of asking him, he agreed to do it, and we were able to arrange it. And I'm very thankful for that, because I think that Ole had some really wonderful things to say, and his outlook is so positive and very action-oriented, and I find that very, very refreshing and much needed, especially in times like this, when all of this craziness is going on and we feel so immersed in this sort of pool miasma of fear and just everything turned up to 11. He's very good at sifting through that and seeing the positive and reminding us that we have an active part to play in all of this. And that makes all the difference in the world. So I do hope that you enjoyed that episode, and it will be interesting to see how all of this unfolds. I've heard some intel, other people's intel, really. I don't have my own intel except these people, these wonderful people that I talk to. But I was watching a David Wilcock video. He's been doing videos on the pandemic, and we'll just say that it will be interesting to see if in the near future the internet and phones get shut off for 3 days. If that happens, then we know something good is in store. At least that's what many fingers are pointing to. I can only hope that that is the case. Because if so, it is justice that is a long time coming. So let's keep our eyes peeled. Perhaps we'll be getting notices on our phones from Trump saying, chill out for 3 days, ride it out, and at the end, we'll let you know what it was all about. And it would be interesting if Trump, the despised enemy of many lefties and liberals, actually ended up being the underdog who is orchestrating this huge change that might be coming. I'm not placing my eggs in either basket. I just appreciate irony, and I appreciate a story unfolding, excuse me, in a way that I could have never expected. Just that dynamic right there is enough for me to find it very, very amusing. If this happens, I don't care who orchestrates it. If it means that all of this positive change is going to happen and this shutdown is what we need to reboot, I'm all for it. So we'll see how it pans out, and I'm going to try to pull in a few more people to do some more impromptu episodes about this. So keep your eyes peeled. If you like what you hear, and I really hope that you do, you can contribute in many ways. One of them is Patreon, www.patreon.com/themeltpodcast. You can go there and subscribe for as little as $1 a month, and it will help so much in keeping the wheels turning here at The Melt. And there's so much that I would like to do to expand this podcast and to make it even better and to make it even more prolific. I would love to put out an episode every week if possible. And another way of contributing is to share. You can go to iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, wherever it is that you catch your podcasts, and write reviews for them. You can, leave us a good review, leave us a good rating, and share it profusely to people that you think may enjoy it, and just spread it in general in the world. Word of mouth, spreading links, however you need to go about it. Thank you all so much for listening. Any feedback you could give would be greatly appreciated. And stories. I'm collecting stories of firsthand experiences with the kinds of things that we talk about here at The Melt. And you can send those in the guise of recordings. It could just be phone recordings. It doesn't need to be anything fancy. You can send those to themeltpodcast@gmail.com. Thank you very much for listening. This episode with Ole and the episode before it with Tolek were sort of, as I said, things that were just planned very quickly and executed very quickly. So after that, actually, this coming Friday will be the next episode of The Melt as it was planned before. And it's a good one, so be sure to check it out. All right, everybody, much love. Stay safe out there, and it's important to realize that we all have a great role to play in all of this. It's very important to remember that. It's so easy to get cynical. It's so easy to feel sort of disenfranchised and to feel helpless. Like there's so many things there of such large proportion that we don't have any role to play in it, but we very much have a role to play in this. So do not forget that. Be present in your life and be a good presence, a positive presence. All right. Until next time, take care.